Hey guys, insight number 2, we're in 2 Nephi chapter 27. This is covering Book of Mormon coming forth times. So this is roughly 190 years ago. No, actually, yeah, about that ish. I'm not good with year math. I can do like complicated math, but when it comes to like time and spatial math, it just doesn't work so well. But anyway, about that, Book of Mormon's coming forth. It's just so good. So there's a lot of stuff in here about the Book of Mormon, and again, a lot of people can get hung up on semantics and start looking at all the nitty-gritty things. Remember that this is written for future events. So this is prophesying, and that you've got to read it in that time as well. Put it into context of that time, like we do with the Doctrine and Covenants. We put it in the context of that time when the Book of Mormon was coming forth. When we read about Joseph Smith's experience and Oliver Cowdery's experience and David Whitmer's experience and all of that, especially with the news of just being able to buy back those wonderful buildings and artifacts from the community of Christchurch. So able to get all those back. That's really cool news, and a lot of people talked about that, so I'm not gonna. But I'm really excited. I think it's really cool. But to put all of that in context of that space and time, like when we're reading this, when it was put into English, we look at the 1830s dictionary, or the 1820s dictionary, I can't remember which one it is, but anyway, that dictionary of that time, because words change. So again, put it into context. Anyway, enough rambling from me. Let's have a look at this. This talks about the 3 witnesses coming, that some will say that, like, really wise men will be like, oh, I can't read that. No, it doesn't make any sense. They dismiss it. So it takes somebody that's got that innocence of belief to be able to see it, and that's how we should approach the Book of Mormon anyway. Sorry, I hurt my finger the other day and it's hurting. Anyway, okay, so let's have a look. So first of all, verses 1 to 3. Now this is interesting because President Packer talked about this some years ago in I want to say BYU talk. It might have been a conference talk, and I could not find it, but I had written it down and forgot to put the reference, so I know he said it. Talked about deer that were, I think deer, and they'd gone on to rescue some animals, and there was like deer and some other type farm animals, and they had fed them a whole lot of food, but they were still sick because the food had no nourishment in it. It just filled their bellies. Didn't actually give them the nutrients that they needed. And so that's what it's talking about in verses like 1 to 3 there. That we can be filling ourselves with stuff, but it's not doing the nourishment, especially at the end of verse 1. And it said that those who shall come upon other lands, yea, even upon all the lands of the earth, behold, they will be drunken with iniquity and all manner of abominations. They're staggering about. They're just not doing so well. They've got taking so much in, but it's not good for them, right? Talk some more about that and how that's going to be visited. The Lord's going to visit, and which he did. And then in the end of verse 3 it says, even as a hungry man which dreameth, and behold he eateth, but he awaketh, and his soul is empty. Or like unto a thirsty man which dreameth, and behold he drinketh, but he awaketh, and behold he is faint, and his soul hath appetite. Like they're not getting that. They're eating, but you're not feeling full. So it's that partaking of information, partaking of life, and you're not getting the nourishment and the goodness from it. And then comes the restored gospel. Now that's where you get the nourishment. And go back to what Jesus talked about to the woman of the well. You're here to draw water. If you drink of the water I offer you, that living water, then you'll never thirst again. So he's not literally talking about, he's analogizing, is that a word? That if you're going to take in the nourishment of Christ, you're not going to thirst again for, like, feel empty as such, and go looking for things, because you found the things. So 6 through onwards, basically, speaks specifically of the Book of Mormon. 23 talks about Jesus not being changeable, as in like I am. So there's a whole lot of stuff, and I just invite you to go read it, because I think you're just really going to love it, and I want you to discover it yourself. And that's not an excuse for, Lorraine, you haven't studied it. And I'm like, I have actually. It's well marked up, but I want you to go and discover it, and I would love you to find it and what sticks out to you, because If you have a testimony of this book, if you read this chapter, or actually this week's readings, it's going to mean a whole lot more to you about how you discovered it and how it became a part of your life. It's going to speak to you on a level that you need. So I'm not going to tell you. You go do it. Yeah. But anyway, 23 says, "For behold, I am God, and am a God of miracles, and I will show unto the world that I am the same yesterday, today, and forever, and I work not among the children of men, save it be according to their faith." So Jesus is not changeable. He doesn't change his opinions, his styles. He's not changeable. He is him. He is what we need, and he works among us according to our faith. So he will work among us the same, but we will see him and feel of it and experience it more if we're nourished on the good stuff, looking after ourselves and looking for Christ. That becomes the faith. 26 is very, very popular. 25 I love too. It says, "And for as much as his people draw near unto me with their mouth, and with their lips do honour me, but have removed their hearts far from me, and their fear towards me is taught by the precepts of men." As in, are you listening to men more than God? Are you pretending to live the gospel, but you're not actually in it? There's a whole lot of things in there. People claim to be Christian, and they're not. I will tell you, I'm Christian, and most days I'm pretty bad at it. I try. Some days I'm pretty good at it. Most days I'm not so good at it. And I think that's probably true for most of us, but we're trying, and that's all he asks us to do. But I definitely do not give lip service. I don't just say it and then act another way. I am me. I don't have time for multiple personalities. I'm just me. I might be several different types of personality all wrapped up in one, but I'm just me. 26 though, "Therefore I will proceed to do a marvellous work among this people, yea, a marvellous work and a wonder, for the wisdom of their wise and learned shall perish, and the understanding of their prudence shall be hid." So in other words, all the wisdom out there is not going to do you any good if you're not listening to God. Because the world will tell you all these things, scientifically proven, but who's smarter? Man or God? I'm going to go with God, because I'm pretty sure he created the world, and Jesus created the world, and I think they know more than men do. So I'm going to go with that. But I wanted to point out that the marvellous work of Mormon they're talking about here is often said, oh, that's the Book of Mormon. And while that's sort of true, Book of Mormon's more like a mascot or the driving force of, or because what was Joseph Smith looking for? The true church. So anything that is marvellous work and a wonder in this is anything that we do that happens among us. So it's not just the Book of Mormon, it's all the work, the service that we do in daily living the gospel, walking the path, gathering Israel. And the Book of Mormon's like the mascot. The Book of Mormon's like the guidebook, or the thing that gets us started, or the reason why we do any of this, of this work, this wonder, this marvelous, miraculous time. So think on that, and that, think of the, that marvelous work and a wonder, that marvelous work that's going to be out there is not just this book. It's your temple service, it's your church service, it's your being kind to someone in the supermarket checkout queue. It's all the things that you do every day that you are trying to be Christ-like and to live in a Christian way. And as I said, I'm not that great at it most days. I'm trying, but I fail like every day at it. In some way, I don't get through a whole day where I've been completely 100% Christ-like, but I'm making efforts, and that's the difference. So that's the marvelous work, is that in our changing and our growth and our becoming, that's the marvelous work, and inviting others to be part of it, others seeing that they can have that too and being part of it. That's the marvelous work and a wonder. Book of Mormon's the mascot, but it's great. It's a great thing to have. I'm not downing on it, but it's not just the book. It's everything that comes from it. Our church, our ministering, our people, our way of worshipping, everything, our temple, a whole lot. Yeah. All right. And also think about here too, just before we run out of time again, how is eating good food physically similar to nourishing our souls with good spiritual food? That's the question. So how is eating good food physically similar to nourishing our souls with good spiritual food? Discuss that with your family or yourself. All right, hang around. We're going to go over to 2 Nephi 28. I'll see you there.